Hello. So in this video, we're going to keep adding to our Space Invaders code. So up until this point, we have the aliens moving around. We can fire lasers at the aliens to get them to be destroyed. We can see our player. We can move the player around on the screen. So the next piece we're going to put in is getting the aliens to be able to drop bombs, and then those bombs could potentially harm the player. Um, so we're gonna do that in kind of a similar way to lasers, just like we have projectiles then that are coming out of the player. So we'll have projectiles coming out of the aliens. So we'll start with saying let bombs equal square brackets to make an empty array that it's going to start to be empty at the beginning, but then we keep adding more and more as the game goes on. And then down toward right here, actually, in function setup, I'm just going to go ahead and call a function that I haven't even defined yet, called spawn. I was about to say spawn bombs, but that is something that's going to happen throughout time, just like the aliens are going to do that. So I'm actually going to scroll down, and kind of like I have fire laser, then I'll make a new function right here after that, closing curly brace. Function, maybe like drop bomb. So it's going to be a lot like laser, like the way that worked. So I'm going to say let bomb equal curly braces as an object, and then bomb dot x equals. Now I want it to be based on where one of the aliens is, right? So it's each alien is potentially going to drop one. So the function drop bomb actually needs to know which alien I'm talking about. So I'm going to include a as a parameter. So I'm going to promise that this function is going to know which alien it is. So then that new bomb, the bomb's x, is going to be equal to the alien's x. They're both going to be circles right now, so just kind of leave it that way. And then bomb dot y will be equal to the alien's y plus the alien's 8 divided by 2, because I wanted to fall from the bottom of it. So, and it's a circle right now. So I have to do the divided by 2 because height represents the diameter. But it's drawing from the center, so I have to take the radius. So that should get the bottom to then fall from the bottom of it. Bottom dot dx should equal, I think it'd be interesting if we did a dot dx if it shared its momentum, kind of the way it works in physics. And then bomb dot vy would be a positive 5 or something. It'll be kind of fast, and we'll just drop. At least the y component is going to be straight down. But I'm curious to see what it looks like when we mix it with the x component here of the alien. And then we'll need a width and a height. Width 15 and 15, see what that looks like. So we have this one single bomb, but it's going to get forgotten about unless we put it somewhere. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say bombs dot push, right, just like we've done with aliens and laser. Bombs dot push bomb. Right, so take that array and push in a new thing to the end of it, right? So it actually gets remembered. Now we got to figure out when to actually call drop bomb. So alien is something that's going to do that. So I'm going to go up to function draw, kind of our main loop that causes things to happen. And I'm going to go inside the for loop for alien, where an alien gets to do update sprite and alien versus wall, draw alien, laser versus alien. So I'm in the same place here. So I guess right in this spot, I'm going to call drop bomb aliens brackets I. So I'm inside of this for loop, so each alien then potentially could drop a bomb here. Now, you probably can see that we're going to want to adjust that a little bit, but leave this way for now. We actually call the function, and then it knows which one it is. All right, now we don't see any of the bombs. This actually will cause some data to be created. These variables are going to change, but we don't see any circles or anything like that. So we need to define how to show the bombs. So just like we have draw alien, draw laser, draw player, the function draw bomb, and then fill orange, starting to run out of colors here. And then circle. So there are going to be lots of different bombs here, so I do need to know which one. So I'm going to set B as the parameter. And then when I draw the circle, it's going to be based on B dot X, comma, B dot Y, comma, B dot width, because the height is the same thing. And knows how to draw the bomb. When I need to say when, and if there are 10 of them on the screen, I need to draw 10 of them. If there's 100, I need them to draw 100 of them. So I definitely need a for loop then to cause that to repeat the number of times that I want. I'm going to go back into the function draw in that main loop that controls everything. Just like I have a for loop for lasers to update it and to draw it, I'm going to have a for loop at I equals 0, because all the other ones are finished, so I can use I again. I less than bombs dot length, semicolon, I plus. That's where I'm going to say, just like I do with laser, update sprite bombs brackets I and draw bomb bombs brackets I. I remember I'm using bombs here, the array, and that's all of them. And then the brackets I is how I specify which one I'm talking about. And I is increasing, it's changing because of this for loop here. So that's how I'm able to identify each of them and all of them. Because this for loop is repeating for as many times as there are bombs. So I do think this is going to work. It's going to do something kind of strange at first. Yep, so you can see how the way I have it set up, all of the aliens are constantly, 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second, whatever, dropping new bombs. So then all of those are moving. So very quickly, I have probably 5,000 or something like that. So that's why my game gets slowed down. But they're showing up and they're moving, so we're on the right track. And that has to do with when I call the function. When I call drop bomb, I want to control that a little bit better. Right now it's inside of a for loop, so it's going to happen a lot, as many aliens as there are. And it's inside a function draw, which is repeating 60 frames a second, 30 frames a second. So I want to control this a little bit better. Now it should still be in the for loop, because I kind of need of all aliens, I do need to specify one of them. What I'm going to do is use an if statement to control should it or should it not drop a bomb here. So every time it's always going to ask that question, should I or should I not drop a bomb? That's always going to happen. And then sometimes they'll say yes, and sometimes they'll say no. So I'm going to say if 3 greater than 2, and then enter. I could do some curly braces here, but I feel like I'm only going to do one line, so I can leave it like this. All right, now how do I get it to decide which ones it should do? So I could use I maybe, but that's only going to say half of the aliens do it, the other ones don't. So why don't I just make it random? That'll make it somewhat easy to figure out. So I have some number compared in some way to some other number. So I'm going to use a random. If I just use random all by itself, this actually gives me a decimal. which can be pretty useful. So it's going to be somewhere between 0 and 1. And it could be maybe 0.5, 0.75, 0.8883, any range in there. So I say if random is less than 0.5, then that's when it should drop the bomb. All right, so it does seem like it's not happening as often, but it's still slowing things down pretty quickly. So if I just change this, now because the for loop in function draw is running so much, I probably do want this number to be pretty small. So instead of it being a 50% chance, then maybe if I made it a 5% chance, then that's a little reasonable. It doesn't slow down too quickly. But that's still, you can see how it's still kind of crazy. So let's turn it down to maybe 1%. That every single frame refresh, an alien has a 1% chance that it's going to drop bombs. And, it's a little clumpy and then it's not. Yeah, I can play with that a little better. But maybe even a little bit further. Better. So a half of 1%, 5,000ths of a percent. Well, 5,000ths of one. Yeah, so that looks a little better. We could keep playing with it. All right, so we got some of the bombs to show up. They're falling, and there's not 10,000 of them immediately, so it's a good place to start.